The American woman had planned a special trip for Shabba, a safari, something she had talked about for days. She wanted to show him the beauty of nature in a way he had never experienced before. Shabba was confused but excited. He had spent his whole life in the wild, but never like this. His people, the Hadzabe, lived with nature, not just as observers but as hunters, providers. The idea of riding in a big car, looking at animals without taking action, seemed strange to him. Today, you will see animals like never before, Shabba, the American woman said, her face glowing with excitement. Shabba grinned. I see animals every day. She laughed. Yes, but today, you will see them in peace. Shabba didn't understand. Why would anyone want to see animals and not hunt them? What was the purpose? But he liked this woman, she made him laugh, she was different. So he decided to go along with it. The safari begins. They climbed into an open safari jeep, with a guide in the front seat. The American woman held her camera, ready to capture every moment. As they drove deeper into the wild, Shabba's instincts kicked in. His sharp eyes scanned the land, noticing every small movement in the grass, every flick of a tail, every shift of the wind. Soon, they spotted their first animal, a towering giraffe, slowly chewing on leaves. Look, Shabba. Isn't it beautiful? The American woman gasped. Shabba stared at it, unimpressed. Too big. Too hard to hunt. She shook her head. No hunting. Just looking. Shabba sighed. Then they saw a herd of zebras grazing peacefully. His stomach growled loudly. Ah, zebra meat, very good, he muttered, licking his lips. The American woman's eyes widened. Shabba. No. We're just watching them. Shabba frowned. How can I just look? My stomach looks too. She laughed and handed him a protein bar. Here, eat this. Shabba sniffed it, took a bite, and immediately made a face. This is not meat. This is food for birds. She couldn't stop laughing, but Shabba wasn't joking. Being surrounded by animals without his bow and arrow felt like torture. His Hadzabe blood was boiling. This was not how nature worked. Temptation in the wild. The jeep came to a stop near a river. Across the water, something moved in the tall grass. A lioness. She was crouched low, eyes locked on a zebra. Shabba's body tensed with excitement. Now this is a safari, he whispered. The lion exploded from the grass, muscles rippling as she sprinted towards her prey. Shabba clenched his fists, his heart pounding. This was hunting. This was life. The zebra tried to run, but it was too late. In one swift, powerful move, the lion pounced, bringing the zebra down. The struggle. Now this is a safari, he whispered. The lion exploded from the grass, muscles rippling as she sprinted towards her prey. Shabba clenched his fists, his heart pounding. This was hunting. This was life. The zebra tried to run, but it was too late. In one swift, powerful move, the lion pounced, bringing the zebra down. The struggle lasted only moments before the lion's teeth sank in. The American woman gasped, covering her mouth. Oh my God. Shabba, however, grinned. That lion, he knows how to live. She turned to him, shocked. You actually enjoyed that? Shabba nodded. That is nature. That is survival. She stared at him, realizing that no matter how much she tried to introduce him to her world, Shabba saw things differently. He didn't see the animals as entertainment. He saw them as part of life, part of survival, part of who he was. A difficult choice. As the safari ended, they sat together under a tree, watching the sunset. Shabba remained quiet. He liked this American woman, but could she ever truly understand him? She gently placed her hand on his. I know hunting is part of who you are. I won't stop you. Shabba looked at her, surprised. But maybe, she continued, you can teach me how you see the world. And I can teach you how I see it too. Shabba thought for a moment, then smiled. Maybe next time, we hunt together. She laughed. Maybe. In that moment, Shabba realized something. Love wasn't about changing who you were. It was about understanding, about meeting in the middle, about sharing worlds. Maybe this American woman wasn't here to take him away from his home. Maybe she was here to walk beside him, wherever life led them. Shabba's choice, between love and tradition. The sun had barely risen over the African plains when Shabba woke up, his mind heavy with thoughts. The safari with the American woman had been an eye-opener. He had enjoyed her company, but he also realized something. He was a Hadzabe man, a hunter by blood, and no matter how much he liked her, could he ever truly fit into her world? As he stretched and walked outside his small hut, the village was already alive with activity. Women were preparing food, children were running around playing, and men were getting ready for another day of hunting. It was the life he knew, the life he loved. But then, there was her. The American woman. She had brought something new, something different. She saw beauty in things he never thought twice about. She laughed at his jokes, even when she didn't understand all of them. And she wasn't scared of his world, she wanted to be part of it. The talk with the elders. Shabba decided he needed advice. He went to see the village elders, wise men who had seen many things in their time. I have met a woman, Shabba began. The elders chuckled. Again, Shabba? First the European woman, now an American one? Shabba laughed. Yes, but this one, she is different. One of the elders nodded. And what is the problem? Shabba hesitated. Shabba's crossroads, a heart torn between two worlds. The sun rose over Hadzabe land, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. The village was waking up, but Shabba had barely slept. His mind was spinning with questions. Should he stay in the bush, where his ancestors had lived for generations, or should he follow the American woman into a world he had never known? He stepped outside his hut, breathing in the fresh morning air. The scent of burning firewood filled his lungs, and the sounds of the village brought him comfort, women laughing as they prepared breakfast, children running barefoot, and men getting ready for another day of hunting. This was his world. But then, there was her. A hunt to clear his mind. Shabba grabbed his bow and arrows and headed into the wilderness. If there was one thing that always brought him clarity, it was the hunt. His friend, Keto, joined him, sensing that Shabba had something on his mind. You are thinking about the American woman, Keto said, not even looking at him. Shabba sighed. How did you know? Keto chuckled. Because you have been silent all morning. That is not the Shabba I know. Shabba nodded, his eyes scanning the trees for movement. She wants me to go with her to America. Keto stopped in his tracks. And what do you want? Shabba hesitated. I don't know. Just then, a movement in the bushes caught their attention. A warthog. Without hesitation, Shabba pulled back his bowstring, aimed, and released. The arrow struck true, and the animal fell. Keto patted Shabba's back. You are a hunter, my friend. That is in your blood. Can you truly leave this life behind? Shabba stared at the fallen animal, deep in thought. The American woman's offer. That evening, Shabba found the American woman sitting by the fire, waiting for him. She smiled when she saw him, but there was something in her eyes, hope, but also sadness. I know this is hard for you, Shabba, she said softly. I would never ask you to stop being who you are. Shabba sat beside her, staring into the fire. You want me to see your world. But what if your world is not for me? She reached for his hand. Then you can always come back. But I want you to at least try. Shabba looked into her eyes. She was kind, patient, and different from any woman he had ever met. She saw something in him that even he didn't fully understand. The village speaks. News of Shabba's dilemma had spread through the village, and everyone had an opinion. Some thought he should go, experience something new, bring back stories. Others said he would never survive in a place without hunting, without the land beneath his feet. The elders called him once more. Shabba, you have a strong spirit, one of them said. But a spirit cannot be in two places at once. You must choose. Shabba took a deep breath. He had spent his whole life running wild, chasing game, and living free. Could he handle the unknown? Or would he lose himself if he left?